Dana.
Hi, Cody.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Daniel. How you doing today?
We're doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Excited to talk to you about this show.
All right.
Great. So, just to start things out, the thing I'm asking all your colleagues about this show is I myself have a background in ballet, so I was really excited about this show. Even little things like I noticed the correct original choreo for Giselle in the background of a scene, so clearly you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about. Amy, I know you have a dance background and you created Bunheads, but can you both tell me what it was that drew you to the world of ballet as creatives for this show?
Well, we had some unfinished business on Bunheads. We didn't feel like we got to see it all the way through.
Sure.
And the dance world is such a it's a world where a lot of the pieces that have been done on dance movies and TV shows and whatnot have really leaned into like the dark side of dance. And I'm sure there's ballerinas pushing other ballerinas off of buildings all over the world. But in my experience, I never saw or met a homicidal ballerina. So I thought, let's do the other side. Let's do the show about the work and the weirdness and the goofiness and the camaraderie and the competitiveness and the love of the art form that's going to pay them absolutely no money and could be over in a second if they twist their knee the wrong way. Let's do that side. Let's do our version of a workplace comedy. And that's, I think, what we got excited about, is that we could do an ensemble workplace comedy show, but have this sort of wonderful artistic backdrop to it that we love so much.
Fabulous. Now, given that the show splits its time between Paris and New York, the spoken dialogue is in both French and English. What's it like translating that trademark snappy Sherman-Palladino dialogue into French?
It's hard.
Yes, it wasn't easy. It was a journey. We wrote the scenes in English. We just made sure we didn't have French speakers dropping American isms. So then we had to find the right translator. We went through a bunch, and we were basically going off of the reactions, especially of Charlotte and Lou Delage, about whether they thought it was capturing what we were trying to do in English. And we went through a lot. They were saying, no, it doesn't have the balance, it doesn't have that. And we finally landed on a woman that translated it. They were both happy with it. And then, we got to know, I will confess, and my Duolingo on my phone will confess, I did not learn French as I vowed to try to do.
We promised Marie we would know French by September, and it didn't work.
But weirdly, you kind of get, you at least, since you know what they're saying in English, as they speak French, you do get a sense of whether the words are sounding right and whether the rhythm is right. So but it was a process, and everyone seemed happy, and we just had to trust, and we're not very trusting people.
No.
So we had to trust our translator, trust our actresses and French actors to really let us know if it was being done right.
So, given that it sounds like it was more difficult and probably took longer than the English scenes, was there ever any temptation or perhaps pressure to just do the whole thing in English?
It wouldn't have been real.
Yeah, it just would have felt so kind of bullshitty, actually.
We actually cheated more into English than we had any right to do, but it is for mainly an English-speaking audience. But, the scenes, I think the scenes of like, the couple of scenes we did of Charlotte having to meet with the cultural minister and those three or four long-faced guys, that plays better in French, even for an American audience, I think, because it just feels old world, heavy, ministerial. Certainly, we're saying that Cheyenne's mother would not be someone who learned English. She's a French woman.
Yeah.
That
would have been weird.
She lives in France. So those scenes, and I think the cemetery sequence that Amy wrote and directed in episode 8, I think that's just sensational, My biggest compliment is I don't think I could have done it any better.
What?
Isn't that a great compliment?
You heard it here, folks.
Très
but-
bien, or whatever they say.
Yeah, but yeah, so I think the scenes that were in French really, really had to be in French
Yeah.
because even Americans who may not like reading subtitles would still sniff out that like those people wouldn't be speaking
Yeah.
English in that circumstance.
So it's a show that is very funny, obviously, but one of the more contentious relationships this season comes between, at least at the
Me and
start,
Amy.
the
Oh,
of
sorry.
course,
I
I was
thought you were
getting ready
going.
for that. I sensed that, yes.
Yes, yes.
It's between the ballet companies and Simon Callow's generous but extremely morally compromised benefactor.
Yep.
The struggle between art and commerce is so real. Was that a conversation during the show, or was that a discussion you're having off camera with your actors?
Yeah, I mean,
It was, yeah, I mean,
all you have to do is Google the name David Koch, and it's all there. It's all there on the Wikipedia. He was an industrialist. Not all businessmen are necessarily bad men, but there was a lot of lobbying by that company to lighten environmental standards and all that stuff. And people have different feelings on both sides. But this man also gave an enormous amount of money to the New York City Ballet. He revitalized that building. That's why it's named the Koch Theater. So he did some good with his money, and that's certainly where the Simon Callow character came. A lot of times there are men and women who engage in all sorts of nefarious activity.
crimes against humanity.
I mean, for God's sake, Vladimir Putin loves ballet. It's just there's no accounting for people in this world.
Yeah, he does.
And I have a feeling Donald Trump likes ballet dancers. I don't know if he likes ballet.
I don't think he's ever seen a ballet.
He said he likes cats. I don't know. Just saying.
He did say that.
My God. Anyway, moving on from this.
Yeah.
Sorry to mention.
Oh,
Yeah, you brought him up.
I know. That's why I'm apologizing.
Well, there is a future for this show. I'm wondering if there's possibly anything you can tell me about what might be coming up.
You mean in another season?
Yeah, possibly.
Well, we're waiting for the overlords at Amazon to pick us up.
To see if people bought enough toilet paper off of watching Étoile
Yes.
before they give us a season 2. So buy toilet paper. It's very important. And you'll use it. So there you go. There's my pitch.
I just moved. So I'm doing a lot of Amazon shopping, so I'm doing my best.
So there you go. There you go. Just say care of Étoile. Hey. So we're kind of a little superstitious about doing work that isn't in existence yet. So we have a lot of ideas, but we're waiting for the starship to tell us.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell's
I totally
going
get
on.
it.
Yep.
All right, well, I'll let you go on that, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited for more people to check out Étoile.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you.